Peace, family. It's your boy Gerald. It is the 4th of March, 2020. How is everybody doing? I hope that your week finds you well. In the town near you, the city near you, and the state near you, I hope that you stay grounded because you are blessed. So, I woke up this morning and, got dressed, going to start my day momentarily. And I know with everything going out in the media, unfortunately, with the virus that's been pandemic uh, worldwide, there's a lot of concerns about your health. And just now, I just thought about it. I was like, if you look on the back of your local disinfectant and you look at what it can be used for, you'll see that the coronavirus is already listed. It's because the virus has been around prior almost 60 years. And not to water it down, it is more or less another strand of the flu. You just haven't figured out how they can remedy it. But there are certain things that we have to take a common sense approach when it comes to not only our emotional state, but our physical being. The tried and true comments that have been put out there, such as cleanliness, taking the time to be respectful to your environment, because that is the same energy that will be reciprocated back. That is why you constantly will hear people say, hey, wash your hands. Hey, if you're coughing, cover your mouth. But that's just one aspect. I personally believe the greatest disease, the greatest health distraction has always been one: fear. Finally, everything's a reality. But even in fear, there's a choice. Even in fear, there's an opportunity. Even in fear, there is respect. He said, how is there respect in fear? Well, it's quite simple. Because when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, that's when the insight comes. That's when you'll find stability. That's when you'll find what being intimate is all about: transparency, or being transparent, not translucent. But we've gotten it kind of twisted because we take on the persona that vulnerability is a weakness, but really it's a strength. And what you see projected out in society is not transparency, it's translucent. I'll let you see what I want you to see, not what you need to see. I'll tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to know. And for some, that can be a stark reality because we're talking emotional checks and balances. And I could easily peel that onion back layer by layer by layer. And each layer, there should be validation until you get to the core or the root of it all. because we're only talking about you. Yeah, the blessed one, the one that has been given from the first breath natural gifts, natural talents. But somewhere along the way, you've got knocked off course. You endured a wound. There's a scar, and underlining the healing is still required. Some things you can't put a band aid on and just walk it off. It's no, it's not going to happen that way. There is a requirement for work to be done. So I'll put on the title, Spring is Coming. Because you blink a couple times proverbially. Fall will be behind us because we're getting ready to roll in daylight savings time. And in the process, things are going to reoccur. Things are going to reappear in your life that you may have once thought was concluded. No. Uh-uh. Now we're talking about divine law. Mm-mm. Doesn't matter how you try to strategize or try to use your wit to manipulate the situation for the outcome. But you notice every time that you try, the outcome is not what you want. Why? Because there is work still required. Well, how can we accomplish the work that needs to be done? First, we have to acknowledge what needs to be fixed. And the only way we can do that is if we decide to be real, authentic. Because guess what? We can agree that you don't need no one's, uh, you don't need anybody's permission to change. That's why change is always done behind proverbially closed doors or within yourself. You can't have the flower bloom without the seed, no matter how buried it is. All things must come to the surface. Maybe that's your truth. Maybe that is a delayed action. And even in that, it does not give you permission to supplement or feed your ego. There's nothing wrong with being proud, but pride will always bring separation, dissension, anarchy, ultimately pain, and unfortunately death. And I've always conveyed, no person knoweth the time of their last breath. That's why you should live your life, the moment, the now, your reality as best as you can. That's all that's required. Do the best that you can, but stay humble, stay grounded. If you don't know, ask. Isn't that what was always echoed from the Most High? You do not have because you have yet to ask. But if you project through ego, through pride, it's always distorted. It always goes left field. It never comes out. But we're looking at it from a perspective of the mortal, not the spirit. See, this is temporary. Your spirit is forever. If you wasn't a spiritual being first, you wouldn't even hear me now. You were brought to this fourth, fifth dimension to complete a job. You signed on for that human experience. That is why you can't buy happiness. That is why when you use manipulation or try to be cunning, it will always fail. Why? Because it's not blessed. Now, I understand some of y'all have been putting that work in for a long time. And you saying to yourself, but Gerald, I am living my life. I am striving to be my best representation. But it seems like I'm going through a season of suffrage. When is the pain going to end? When is my ship proverbially going to come in? And for those who may feel that sentiment, let me convey this to you. And this is something you already know. Everything happens as it's divinely meant. Nothing happens just because. Maybe this season that you're in is a prequel for your blessing on the other side. Maybe your harvest that you invested long ago wasn't denied, it was cultivated so that when it comes, you will not forget the journey it took for it to blossom. Who am I talking to? Nothing that lasts forever comes quick. It don't. But you already know that because you've already heard, no matter how it's interpreted. He's always there. He's never there when you want him, but he's always there when you need him. Why? Because number one, he's not going to waste his grace on someone that's not going to appreciate it. He got, if you want to keep it, if you, can I, let me, let me, let me break it down to the lowest level for the person intended to hear this. You looking for your ride or die? You're always saying, where's my ride or die? But you've been riding for a long time, but inside you're feeling like you've been dying. You might have to get that right because that's what he wants. You can't say, I'm going to take this path, but I'm going to adjust it the way I want and expect the outcome that you desire. It don't work that way. We're not that divine shot caller. Ain't nothing different than looking at it from an economic stance. Look at where you work, and you have one chief, and that chief says, he or she says, this is how business will be conducted. Well, guess what? The tribe may feel a different way, but until that chief is able to see it clearly, progression will never occur. It will only attract delay. It will only usher in distraction. And if it's still not acknowledged, it will only foster denial. Now, how's that pertain to you? You may see indirectly in your environment examples one by one by one by one of things falling apart around you, people going through things. You know why that is? It's just to spiritually let you know, hey, I got something better for you, but I want to make sure that the message is sent, but I want to make sure that it's received. That's what knowledge is all about. That's what wisdom is. The examples are nothing but insight. Just in case you forgot, this could be you. Now, so number one, I don't even know why I gotta tell you this. Love yourself. Love yourself. If you're going through something, you can't get through it until you acknowledge that you're going through it. The biggest one that on the human dynamic that people deal with is heartbreak. Okay, your heart was broken. Acknowledge it. Don't deflect it. It happened. It hurts. But you know why it hurts? Because your heart is being made bigger for the love that's going to come in it, and the frustration and the pain that you are mentally interpreting is nothing but preparation so that when it does reveal itself in the intended time, you'll know exactly what you need compared to what was a want. Why? Because you deserve it. This is no this is no different than that person that on day one said, you know what? I'm going to embark on this journey of pursuing a higher education. And they're putting the time in. And then after every task has been completed, to acknowledge where they have been, you get your degree. But the difference is you ain't learned nothing. You crammed, you cheated, you checked out. Happens. That's why people go through things. You're going to constantly go through things until you learn the lesson so you don't have to. The only thing that changes is the faces. That is the presentation, the human dynamic, the contact. But until you decide to say, you know what? I got to take ownership for my part. Because guess what? You wouldn't feel no pain if you wasn't there. But that doesn't give you the right to say, I am victim when you are survivor. Because if, put it this way, we can agree that the Most High is a jealous but loving God, right? Do you realize how much time and effort he could save if he just decided to leave you right where you are? Just that effect alone, you realize how many people would not be here? Hmm? But that's not the case. So that disappointment that you may have seen, maybe that disappointment really was motivation for you to move, meaning what I'm saying to change, to self-evaluate, to process. Maybe that is the linchpin that is required to reveal your blessing. You ever thought about that? Now, I'm saying that in preparation of one thing. You have to get to a point of understanding that there's only a chosen few that will know your story. And then there is the other percentage that are only going to be footnotes, highlights, and accent points that are part of it. You have to find a place to accept that. And you'll know because their actions will illustrate that first. All you got to do is look, what do you see? Are they doing everything that you can interpret in your mind what a friend is? Do they possess the traits and values exhibited in their behaviors that warrants for the hello? You realize how precious a hello is? You realize how priceless a smile is? You realize how much impact is felt when silence is there? For some of you that not feeling me right now, hopefully in the intended time it'll all make sense. Number one, put your put your brake pedal on. Slow down. Slow down. You might be speed past, you may be going past something that you should have saw some time ago, but because we get so inundated in our lives, we end up going around the proverbial block 6, 7 times when in actuality there was something in the small print that was so obvious. If you just slowed down, it would have made an impact on the choice and the reaction that you may be seeing. So I'm putting that out for somebody because I know some of you are not convinced. And it's not me you're not convinced, it's what's going on in your life. It's that one proverbial thing that no matter what, you still have yet to do the work. You've strategized, you've tried to, you know, juggle things. You've even tried to deflect at times, thinking that the scenario would be different. Everybody's got to do their part. And if they don't do their part, you have to authentically acknowledge that they're not doing their part. So if that's the case, why are you entertaining that? Why are you spending so much energy? Why? No, you're not supposed to do that. Some things you're supposed to treat like a museum. Just look, acknowledge, Keep it moving. It's not your battle. Never was. And maybe that is the reason the outcomes that are playing out, you're having a hard time processing. You wasn't supposed to be there to begin with. They wasn't supposed to have access. It doesn't mean you're being mean. You just you're being real. Your life is not supposed to feel like a doormat. But I know somebody's saying, but Joe, you don't understand. I've got a connection with this person, unlike any other that I've felt. And you're frustrated because it is not manifesting like you logically want to process. No, it's not yours. That is why not anybody can just go and find a find a diamond, find a diamond in the yard, whatever, you know what I'm saying? No. But even with a diamond cannot shine or luster to its magnitude until the process in which it came as a form of coal. You may be thinking, well, Gerald, I don't deserve to be loved or respected because of the choices and the decisions I made. Can I go back to that last comment I made about 15 minutes ago? And the comment was, if that was your reality, you would still be in it. You're not supposed to be disrespected. And God forbid, if you're in a situation where it's physical. Let me tell you something. Love should not hurt. It shouldn't. You shouldn't have to feel like you got to strong arm somebody to walk with you. No. Number one, that's Stockholm syndrome because you're condoning the behavior. And number two, you're holding yourself hostage or trying to hold them for ransom to get them to change. We, as human beings, will never have that control. You can't make nobody do anything they don't have the desire to do. That's why when people put on facades, when people decide to put on that mask, it always breaks. You can fool some of the people some of the time, not all the time. But if you're putting your energy or your environment is putting so much energy to ensuring that the facade or the illusion has longevity, why does it always fall apart? Because when you compare real from imitation, even though society says, well, imitation is flattery, actually, imitation is an opportunity not claimed to coming into its own. Can you inspire someone? All day. But it means nothing if they don't embrace it to change for themselves. So what I'm trying to convey to you, look, we getting ready to roll into a new season and them flowers are gonna come. And as the petals release and the fragrances are emitted into the air, let your smile be right there with it. Because there's only one, yours. So it's a blessing to bestow that to the intended audience. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm excited, family. I'm excited what the summer is going to reveal. I can't wait I can't wait to get there. But I know that this is a process. Work has to be done, and that work will be judged, and the reward will come from it. What you put in is what you get out. That's why you can't steal you. Can't. It's easier to stand on your foundation, speak your truth, because then you can say, I am who I am. And you know, the beautiful thing about that is it will afford you the opportunity to see those people through their actions that they see your value. You gotta you ain't got to pull no teeth. And I echoed this a lot the last couple of weeks. This is for you if you're listening. You might feel a little uneasy right now, but maybe what's being revealed to you is this: get out of your own way. I tell my partners all the time, sometimes you got to get out of other people's way to see your own. Doesn't matter how much you invest in it, it's not yours. And you're doing a disservice because I heard someone say this today. Yeah, because I had the Breakfast Club, and I just took a little snippet of what Charlemagne said. It was like he had Nene Leakes on there interviewing, and they did their interview, and just to wrap it, she said, if people would take the same energy that they give out freely and apply it to themselves, their life would be totally different. Yeah, because you would be able to see what not only was rightfully yours to begin with, but you would also understand what you was being denied all along. That's you. That's you. So you're gonna love yourself today. You're gonna get out of your own way. Maybe this is the moment that you take a step back and survey your life. And if you got some emotional scars still suppressed within yourself, maybe you need to forgive. And you might be thinking, I ain't forgiving nobody, Gerald. They caused me great pain and sorrow. Never. Let me tell you something. Forgiveness is not for them, it's for yourself. As long as you as long as you keep that prideful spirit, because that's what it is, that's another link in that that shackle that's keeping you from being at peace. But just know, you reap what you sow, and you can't run from yourself. And what you don't want to do is rob yourself of your mortality. That's why you have a lot of older people and they're bitter inside. They're just angry. They're miserable. You know why? Because they know what they needed to do. And they're mad because they cheated themselves of mortality. And they have to come to terms that they undermined it themselves. 2020, the year that all will be seen. The year, all that was hidden will be made clear. Once clarity is there, that's your opportunity and will be your direction on what you decide to do from. Because one thing you can't say, I didn't know. I didn't know that. You can't unlearn something that you've been divinely given the opportunity to see, but you can't run from it. And which is sad. Because what you don't realize is maybe that challenge, like I said, is the linchpin for your blessings. That's why I tell everybody about fear. Fear. Finally, everything's a reality. 2020. The reality is right in front of you. Do you like what you see? If you don't like what you see, opportunity. Change it. But you can't change anything you won't acknowledge. It's not about getting the last word. It's not about making the impact statement. Actually, unfortunately, you play yourself when you do that. Because the greatest impact statement ever given to man is silence. Silence. Because silence is the brother to grace. It is the cousin of temperance. It is the brother of compassion. Tell me again you don't deserve that. Tell me again you don't deserve to have the best life. Tell me again why you don't love yourself. Who convinced you of that? Because the same people that convinced you did not deserve to hear you breathe. Have a blessed week. Place God first in everything you do because you're worth it. Love to hear from you. Peace.